Did SB19 really perform on a FIFA stage? It sounds like a simple question, but somehow this one debate has taken over social media, sparked arguments across platforms, and left thousands of people confused about what actually happened. Some fans proudly claim SB19 performed at FIFA. Others insist the story has been exaggerated. So what's the truth? The answer is far more interesting than a simple yes or no. Because when you dig beneath the viral posts, the reposted clips, and the endless online arguments, you uncover a story that connects one of the biggest sporting events on the planet with a rising Asian pop phenomenon that was beginning to break through international barriers. And that's where this story gets much bigger than people realize. The confusion didn't begin with an official announcement. It didn't begin with FIFA. In fact, it started the way many internet myths begin, with a short video clip, just a few seconds of footage, a repost, and a caption that lacked context. That was enough. Within hours, people were sharing the content across platforms, repeating the claim that SB19 had performed at FIFA. As the clip spread, the narrative took on a life of its own. Some viewers believed SB19 had appeared on the official World Cup stage seen by millions around the globe. Others pointed toward FIFA-related fan events but failed to explain the difference. Before long, two completely different versions of the story were circulating at the same time, and most people never stopped to ask a crucial question. What exactly are they talking about when they say FIFA concert? That question lies at the center of the entire misunderstanding. The phrase sounds official. It sounds like a single, massive event watched by the whole world. But that's not how FIFA's entertainment structure actually works. FIFA doesn't usually organize one giant standalone concert in the way people imagine. Instead, entertainment is woven into a much larger ecosystem of celebrations, fan experiences, cultural showcases, and live events that take place throughout a tournament. Music, performances, and public celebrations happen across multiple venues and stages, often running alongside the football itself. Yet on social media, all of those different experiences are frequently compressed into one simple label, a FIFA concert. And that's where the confusion begins. Once people hear those two words, they immediately picture a global broadcast stage comparable to an opening ceremony or a halftime spectacle. Context disappears, details vanish. The distinction between official tournament ceremonies and fan-focused entertainment programs becomes blurred. Social media accelerates the process even further. Platforms reward speed, emotion, and impact, not necessarily accuracy. A clip without context can travel across continents in minutes, and by the time viewers encounter it, the original details are often gone. What remains is a simplified version of the story, and that simplified version is usually the one that spreads the fastest. But while people were debating terminology, something much more significant was unfolding behind the scenes. Because this story isn't only about confusion, it's also about why SB19 became part of the conversation in the first place. And to understand that, you have to understand the journey that brought them there. Long before international audiences were discussing their name, SB19 was building something extraordinary. Their rise wasn't fueled by a single viral moment or a lucky opportunity. It was the result of years of relentless work, discipline, and evolution. Emerging from a rigorous training system, they gradually developed a reputation for powerful performances, precise choreography, and a level of artistic involvement that helped distinguish them from many of their peers. As time passed, they weren't simply performing songs. They were building an identity that audiences could recognize instantly. Then came the shift, the moment when local success started transforming into international recognition. Their performances began reaching audiences beyond Southeast Asia. Their music crossed borders. Their fan base expanded. Discussions about SB19 were no longer limited to one country or one region. Around the world, more people were discovering the group, sharing their performances, and recognizing the level of talent they brought to the stage. At the center of this growth stood 18, a fandom whose dedication helped amplify every achievement and push SB19 into conversations that once seemed out of reach. And as their visibility continued to grow, something remarkable started happening. Global event organizers began paying attention. The industry itself was changing. For decades, international visibility often depended on geography and access to established entertainment hubs. But the digital era was creating a new reality. Artists from different regions could now capture worldwide attention through performance quality, audience engagement, and online influence. The old barriers weren't disappearing completely, but they were beginning to crack. And SB19 was emerging during exactly that shift. Which brings us to the moment that would eventually become the source of all this confusion. The connection between SB19 and FIFA becomes much clearer when viewed through the lens of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 Fan Festival. These fan festivals weren't small side attractions hidden away from the spotlight. They were enormous entertainment hubs designed to bring together football fans from around the world. Music, culture, live screenings, performances, and celebrations all merged into one massive experience running alongside the tournament itself. They became gathering places for thousands of people every day, transforming the World Cup into something larger than football alone. It was within this environment that SB19 became part of the FIFA World Cup experience. Not through the tournament's central ceremonies, but through a global entertainment platform that showcased artists from different countries and cultures. And that's an important distinction, because the FIFA Fan Festival wasn't simply another concert venue. It was a stage where cultural representation mattered, a stage where artists carried more than just their music. They carried the identity of where they came from. For SB19, that moment represented something much bigger than a performance. It represented Filipino pop music stepping into a global celebration attended by fans from every corner of the world. It was a breakthrough, a turning point, a moment that symbolized how far they had come and how much further they could still go. But just how significant was that appearance? How did international audiences react? And why did that moment leave such a lasting impression on fans who witnessed it? Those answers reveal an even bigger chapter of the story, one that would push SB19's global visibility to an entirely new level. But being on a FIFA-associated stage wasn't just another booking. It wasn't simply another international performance added to SB19's growing resume. For the group, this was a moment that represented something much bigger. A moment that reflected a changing global landscape where artists from regions that had long been overlooked were finally beginning to command attention on some of the world's biggest platforms. And that's exactly why this story matters. Because while the internet was busy debating whether SB19 performed at a FIFA concert, a much more important story was unfolding beneath the surface. A story about representation, a story about recognition, a story about a shift in who gets seen, who gets heard, and who gets invited onto the global stage. The reality is that FIFA Fan Festival performances and official FIFA ceremony performances are not the same thing. They exist within the same World Cup ecosystem, but they serve very different purposes. One is designed as the centerpiece spectacle watched by millions around the world, while the other is built as a cultural meeting ground where music, identity, and global audiences come together. Yet on social media, those distinctions often disappear. Complex realities get compressed into simple headlines. Detailed event structures become single labels. And before long, a nuanced story becomes a viral claim. That's where the misunderstanding took hold. When people saw SB19 connected to FIFA, many assumed they had appeared on the tournament's main ceremonial stage. But the truth is far more nuanced and arguably far more interesting. Because the real question isn't whether SB19 performed at a so-called FIFA concert. The real question is why they were invited into FIFA's global entertainment ecosystem in the first place. That answer reveals just how far they had come. By the time FIFA-related organizers took notice, SB19 was no longer just a successful Filipino group. They had become part of a growing cultural movement. Their music was reaching audiences across borders. Their performances were generating millions of views. Their digital footprint continued expanding. And behind them stood A10, a fandom whose passion and dedication transformed online support into real-world influence. In today's entertainment industry, visibility isn't measured only by record sales or radio airplay. It's measured by attention, engagement, and the ability to spark conversations that extend far beyond national boundaries. SB19 had all of it, and FIFA Fan Festivals were designed for exactly that kind of global energy. These festivals weren't created to showcase only Western superstars or already established international icons. Their purpose was to reflect the diversity of the audience gathering around the World Cup itself. Fans were arriving from every continent, every culture, and every background imaginable. The entertainment needed to reflect that same diversity. In that environment, SB19 represented something powerful: the rise of Southeast Asian pop culture and the emergence of a new generation of artists, proving that global appeal no longer belongs exclusively to a handful of entertainment capitals. That was the shift. And SB19 found themselves standing right in the middle of it. For Ppop, the significance of this moment stretched far beyond a single performance. For years, Filipino pop music faced a difficult reality. No matter how talented the artists were or how passionate the fans became, breaking into international conversations remained an uphill battle. The global spotlight often focused elsewhere. K-pop dominated headlines. Western artists dominated playlists, and many talented acts from Southeast Asia struggled to receive the same level of visibility. Then came a turning point. SB19's presence in a FIFA-linked entertainment platform placed Ppop in front of an audience that wasn't actively searching for Filipino music. This wasn't a concert filled exclusively with existing fans. It wasn't an audience already familiar with every song. It was something entirely different. People from different countries, different cultures, and different languages were seeing SB19 for the very first time. And first impressions matter, especially on a global stage. In a matter of minutes, audiences formed opinions based on one thing alone: the performance, the energy, the presence. And SB19 delivered. What made the moment significant wasn't simply that they performed. It was where they performed and who was watching. For Ppop, it felt like a door opening, a signal that Filipino artists could stand confidently within the same entertainment ecosystem occupied by globally recognized acts, not as outsiders, not as exceptions, but as legitimate participants in a rapidly evolving global music landscape. Ironically, as the significance of the moment grew, so did the confusion surrounding it. The more clips spread online, the more context disappeared. A short video would go viral. A caption would simplify the story. A repost would remove another layer of explanation. Before long, the phrase SB19 performed at a FIFA concert began circulating everywhere. It sounded dramatic. It sounded impressive. And that's exactly why it spread so quickly. But viral narratives often prioritize simplicity over accuracy. The reality was never hidden. It was simply more complicated than a headline. SB19's appearance was part of FIFA-associated entertainment programming connected to the World Cup experience. However, social media transformed that detailed reality into a shorter, cleaner, and more shareable version. And that's how modern misinformation often works. Not through completely fabricated stories, but through missing context. A missing detail here, a missing explanation there. Until eventually, the simplified version becomes more popular than the truth itself. Yet despite all the confusion, one thing remained undeniable: the reaction. When international audiences encountered SB19, many of them had no prior connection to the group. No history, no fandom, no expectations. They simply watched. and what they saw left an impression. Powerful vocals, sharp synchronization, relentless energy, confidence. The kind of stage presence that doesn't require translation. The kind of performance that communicates through movement, emotion, and sheer force of execution. For many viewers, it was their first introduction to SB19. For the group, it became another breakthrough. And breakthroughs matter, not because they happen overnight, but because they reveal how far a journey has come. Looking back now, this moment holds a unique place in SB19's story. Not because it was the World Cup opening ceremony, not because it was a mythical FIFA concert, but because it represented something that may be even more meaningful: recognition, global placement, visibility on a platform connected to one of the most watched events on Earth. Few Filipino pop acts have ever stood before such a diverse international audience at the same time. Few have entered cultural spaces traditionally dominated by industries with decades of global influence behind them. SB19 did. And in doing so, they helped push Ppop into conversations where it had rarely been included before. That is the real significance of this story. Not the viral label, not the internet arguments, not the misleading headlines. The real story is that a Filipino group stepped into a global entertainment ecosystem and proved they belonged there. The question, however, still remains. If the viral narrative isn't entirely accurate, then what exactly happened during SB19's FIFA-linked journey, and why did that moment become such an important milestone in their rise? To fully understand that, we have to look even deeper into the events themselves. And that's where the next chapter of this story begins.